Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here to get you started on Unit 10, AR, ER, and OR endings. Please take a second to gather your materials. You will need your green book open to page 65. You will also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark up on my board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key as well. If you need to write that on a separate sheet of paper, that's totally fine. If at any point I'm moving too fast, please pause the video and catch up. Okay, so we have been looking at different endings, common endings, and often those endings help us figure out the part of speech. Is this word a noun, a verb, or an adjective? So we're going to be continuing with that today, but all of our words this week will end in either an OR, an AR, or an EER. Okay, so as we read this list, I want you to notice the pronunciation of the AR, the OR, and the EER. What sound do those letters make at the end of a word? Now you'll notice I already went through and broke these words into syllables. I did that to save us a little time. If at this point you want to pause the video and add your own syllable breaks, go ahead and do that. All right, so let's continue. I'm going to read you the list of words. Please repeat after me. Alligator, ambassador, calculator, career, caterpillar, competitor, denominator, educator, elevator, engineer, escalator, illustrator, investor, muscular, numerator, particular, pioneer, professor, realtor, refrigerator. All right, lots of great words this week. Please choose another color. And just as we've done in previous weeks, I want to check off the stressed syllable. Remember, that's the syllable that we say a little bit louder and stronger than the rest. So in alligator, it's our first syllable. I think I need a different color. Okay, alligator. Ambassador, it's the second syllable. Calculator, career, caterpillar, competitor, denominator, educator, elevator, engineer, escalator, illustrator, investor, muscular, numerator, particular, pioneer, professor, realtor, refrigerator. Okay, and our key, brown check mark, equals stressed syllable. Okay, now we've noticed in the past that the stressed syllable is going to be the easiest to spell because all of the letters act in predictable ways. Al, bass, cow, pet. You can sound out all those letters. It's the unstressed syllables that get tricky because a lot of the vowel sounds morph into a schwa. So we hear that schwa in the I in alligator, in the A in ambassador, in the I in competitor, okay? I'm not gonna have you go through and circle all those because I feel like you've done that enough and you know what to look for. But here's some new learning. When an R-controlled vowel shows up in an unstressed syllable, it's gonna change its sound too. It's not gonna become a schwa, but it's gonna become So AR, instead of saying R, is going to say caterpillar. OR OR, instead of saying or, is going to say competitor. So just keep that in mind. All of these endings that are unstressed are going to say regardless of whether it's AR, ER, or OR. Okay? But look at career. Look at engineer. And look at pioneer. Those are all stressed syllables, so they're going to be able to stretch out that long E followed by the R. Career, engineer, pioneer. Okay? So green line is long E followed by the R sound. Okay? Everything else, though, morphs into an Now, I want to talk about some clues we can get by studying these endings. So, for instance, an OR ending usually means, or often means, something or someone that. So, a calculator is something that calculates, right? It does math problems for you. A competitor is someone who competes. An educator is someone who educates or teaches. An elevator is something that elevates you, it lifts you up. An escalator escalates you, right? If a situation escalates, it moves up a level, right? So an escalator brings you up to the next level. An illustrator is a person who illustrates. They draw pictures for a book. An investor is a person who invests money. A professor is a person who professes knowledge. They teach us stuff, right? And then a refrigerator is something that refrigerates your food. It makes it cold, okay? So most of the time, that OR means, it's a suffix that means a person or thing that blanks, okay? Of course, it doesn't work all the time. An alligator isn't a thing that alligates. An ambassador isn't a thing that embasses. So it doesn't work all the time. But most of the time, you can figure out the meaning by looking at the first chunk, right? And thinking, oh, this is a person or thing who. Now, notice all of our OR endings are nouns. An alligator is a thing. An ambassador is a person who spreads goodwill. I'm going to write that now. So, for instance, our country, our goal is to get along with all of our neighbors, right? We don't want to get into wars, so we have to spread goodwill. So we actually have ambassadors that we send to other countries, and they live in those other countries, and they work with those governments to keep the peace. We send ambassadors to China, we send ambassadors to France, we send ambassadors to Australia, okay? So noun, I'm going to go ahead and put ends here. Alligator's a noun, ambassador's a noun, calculator's a noun, competitor, that's a person, that's a noun. A denominator, that's the bottom of a fraction. And a numerator is the top of a fraction. Okay? A denominator is not a person who denominates. That doesn't make sense, but it is a noun. A numerator isn't a thing that numerates, but it is a noun. An educator noun. Elevator, noun. Escalator, noun. Illustrator, noun. Investor, noun. Professor, noun. Realtor is a person who sells property, sells houses. That's their job. Okay, it's not a person who reels. And a refrigerator is a noun. So I want you to notice all these OR endings signify a noun. It's a person, a place, or a thing. Okay, then we have an AR ending in words like muscular. Muscular means having to do with the muscles, right? So that's an adjective. Particular is an adjective, right? A particular item means that specific item. And then, yes, I know, we have caterpillar, which, Mrs. Rhoades, I thought you just told us OR means nouns and AR means adjectives. And yes, that would be nice if that were true all the time, but we have rule breakers. So, all this word study will only get you so far. I do want to talk about this word, educator. It has a root in it, DUCE. DUCE is a root. DUCT, DUCE, and DUC all mean to lead, okay? So in your book this week, when you get to page 68, you're gonna see a whole bunch of words that have these chunks. Words like abduct, right? If you abduct someone, it means you kidnap them. So you're leading them away from safety. A conductor leads the orchestra. A duct, like a tear duct, is a little path that the tears follow out of your eye. So anything with duct, deuce, or duck has something to do with leading. So if you think of an educator, their job is to lead you to knowledge, right? They're showing you the way, the information you need. So just keep that in mind. You will see more of this duct, deuce, and duck root when you get to page 68. Okay, and then very briefly, we talked about suffixes. We talked about roots. So let's see if there are any important prefixes that we need to know this week. And I'm running out of colors here, but maybe I'll go back to red. We do have the prefix in. We know that in can mean two different things. It can mean not, right? Like if something's inappropriate, it's not appropriate. But it can also mean in, right? Like the interior, or to inhale. So in this case, an investor is someone who puts money in to an account, okay? So that's where the prefix in comes in. The prefix pro means forward. So when you profess something, you're taking this knowledge and you're spreading it, right? It's like going forward, out of your mouth, forward into the ears of others. So forward, in, even illustrator here, ill means in, right? It's one of those assimilated prefixes. So when you illustrate something, you're putting in more detail, you're letting in more light, like more clarity to the scene. We've talked about the prefix com before. Com can mean with or together. So if you're a competitor, you're competing with somebody else. So there are other prefixes here as well, but this is plenty to get you started. So red box equals prefix. Okay, I think we've already gone through the meanings of all of our words. Yeah, so I think you guys are good. So go ahead and start your unit. Good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.